So welcome to those on the stream. I just want to remind folks of everyone's favorite stuff, which is the housekeeping notes, which is if you add the session to your calendar in the app, you're able to take the survey, so please do that. You also could ask questions in there, and I'll have access to that. We'll also try to have time for Q&A at the mics as well. But continuing on our business justification, ROI track, we've learned a lot about making the business case so far. We will, part of the journey is internal buy-in, getting the right people on board, forming the right teams. And Tina from Dashlane, who I'm calling you now, is here to talk about how to win the 4 boss battles in your product development quest with passkeys. So, Tina, take it away.
Thanks, Megan. Hi, everyone. Good to see you. My name is Tina Zhuo, and I work at Dashlane, where I'm a lead product manager. And Dashlane is also where some coworkers introduced me to the world of tabletop role-playing games. And tabletop games, video games, and fantasy fiction are what inspired the framing of this talk, which is a story of our passkey quest, how we overcame the 4 risks, or boss battles, to deliver passkey support for Dashlane users. And for those of you representing businesses or organizations looking to implement passkeys as relying parties, it's also a game guide so that your own passkey quests can go more smoothly. So when you see this quest alert icon in the top right corner, it means you might want to take a photo of the slide for your journey. Ignore this one, though, just for demonstration purposes. Show anyway? Quest difficulties already. Should I hit reload? Good? Thank you. Well, if you haven't heard of Dashlane, we're a credential security solution, making it easy for our customers, businesses, and consumer users to securely access their services. And this includes now storing and using passkeys to log in, no matter the device or the platform. But this wasn't always the case. Let's set the scene. The year is 2022, and the kingdom of Dashlane was devoted to making life online simple and secure. But as a password manager, unsure of how passkeys might change the future. In this game, you are a product manager, and here's your adventurer party or your dev team, which may vary, but let's say you have a UX designer, some engineers, and a data analyst. And of course, you work with other kingdom figures and stakeholders to do good for Dashlane. One day, you are offered a new quest. Zhuo is Dashlane's resident wizard, has no idea I made this slide, and is a member of the benevolent sorcery group, FIDO, formed to overcome challenges shared across kingdoms in the murky realm of identity. He approaches your adventurer party with an ask. Hey, could you check out this new magic appearing in the land? Passkeys? As a reminder, though you know, passkeys are a replacement for passwords for more secure and convenient access to websites and apps, and they are phishing resistant in their very nature. Being an adventurer, of course you accept, and you agree to learn more about passkeys, power waiting to be understood and used for the good of all. An answer, maybe, to the ever-present pains of password usage, even if you use a password manager. That is, if you succeed. But there are recurring tropes and themes in games, in fantasy stories. And if you're familiar with these, or with the principles of product development, you'll know that it wasn't as simple as defeating one enemy, but 4. These 4 enemies are ones you know well, you've tangoed with before, and will again, on different battlegrounds, but always fighting the same forces. And these are the 4 key risks of any product opportunity, including this one. Quick dive, here's a note slide, into each boss you'll have to defeat in this quest. Value, will customers buy and use the solution? Viability, will the solution work for the needs of your organization as a whole? Feasibility, Can you deliver the solution under your given constraints? And usability. Can customers understand how to use and benefit from the solution? Time to market is precious. In any quest, we'll dive straight in to boss one, value risk. Will customers be willing to buy and use your solution? And sometimes winning this battle is easy. Just go talk to some customers, dig up some feature requests. But not for us at the time. Remember that it's 2022. Passkeys are not on the map at all, not among our user base at least. A bare handful of websites supported passkeys, not all consistently or reliably. Then virtually none of our customers had even heard of them, and when we brought them up in conversations, they were not ready to try them so early on. This was the feedback we were getting across the board, not only in research calls, but also as on-the-ground intel reported by our Kingdom Tavern Keepers or sales organization, who asked why your adventurer party was chasing rumors of far-off treasure instead of making changes closer to home, to building features that customers were actually asking for. Fair point. But to defeat any value risk boss, look beyond feature requests and specific solution wishes. Try to understand what customers really care about. For Dashlane, that's secure, convenient access from any device or platform to live life online while being protected from cyber attackers. So yeah, Dashlane already had a solution with the zero-knowledge vault and autofill, but just having passwords in the equation, there were still risks in terms of phishability. So passkeys would better deliver on the same ease of access while offering better protection from online dangers than what we had in place already. Note slide for relying parties. Maybe users aren't choosing your service to manage their logins, but secure access is still a basic expectation, along with whatever it is you are providing. So to defeat your passkey value boss, focus on the problems lurking around whenever passwords are involved, like general login pain, how users get locked out of accounts or drop out of checkout flows, or the risks of damage to your customers and your business in case attackers get a hold of passwords. So these are all problems inherent to password usage, even with the password manager, even with MFA. They're not going away on their own, but if you implement passkeys, they will improve. And happily for any aspiring relying parties today, the value boss has become easier to defeat with the help of a playbook. So see some cheat codes at the end of the talk to make winning this battle a breeze. And with that, consider the value boss defeated. Great start to the quest. And on to the next one, viability risk, which is the question of whether your solution will work for your organization as a whole. And there were really two questions that we faced here. One, why support passkeys now? Is that really going to help our business goals? And two, how can all departments and functions help a passkey solution succeed? It was clear from the last battle that passkeys would bring value for customers, but the viability question remained for the business. Why should we put in the effort to support passkeys now in 2022 so early on when customers might not benefit for years? Not until more websites support passkeys and adoption becomes widespread. Maybe you're facing a similar question as we're still quite early on. Why not spend that time and effort developing something that would bring immediate business impact? What's more, and interestingly for us at Dashlane, we were a password manager. Aren't passkeys something that might cannibalize our own business? So why would we want to invest in something that speeds our own demise? And now it's time for everyone's favorite, an unskippable in-game cutscene. We are not the first company who has faced this challenge, and we can look to Polaroid as a cautionary tale of the consequences of failing to adapt both your product and your strategy to new technology. In the 1970s, Polaroid was an industry leader thanks to film photography. But they assumed that people would always want physical film prints, that demand would stick around, and they failed to adapt to the new emerging magic of their time, digital photography. Something interesting is that Polaroid had actually invested in R&D and developed working digital cameras pretty early on, but they decided not to release them to the market, thinking that it was too early for their customers. I know. And by the time conditions were finally good enough for them to launch, it was already too late. They lost customers to competitors who were faster to investigate and offer digital, and Polaroid went bankrupt. I hear something very similar happened to Kodak as well, a common trap. And we played this cutscene to illustrate the point. Polaroid's business didn't have to be fixated on film. Their real mission was helping people capture memories easily. And our business wasn't necessarily in password management, but in simple credential security. As passkeys better deliver on that, we couldn't wait until it was too late to investigate. And we should be prepared to launch them, even if the landscape wasn't yet ideal, or especially in that case. So that no matter the speed of growth of passkeys, something we couldn't totally control ourselves, we would never fail our customers in giving them the secure and convenient access that they need. So it was a no-brainer, finally, to disrupt our current product in service of our greater mission. Even if it wouldn't bring revenue immediately, we had more to lose by not pursuing passkeys early on. And our business outcomes would follow one day if we were solving a real customer problem. So that was one successful move in the passkey viability battle. But this is a two-headed boss. Viability risk is also about whether your solution will work for the rest of your organization. So even as our adventurer party or dev team started looking into passkeys, we had to make sure that the rest of the kingdom, really our extended team, would be prepared to not only support, but even join us on this quest. Adventuring is a team sport, and it was a new technology for everyone, marketing, customer support, and sales as well. So we began educating the kingdom from the inside, training sessions on the problems of passwords, even with the password manager, what passkeys are at different levels of detail for different levels of technical knowledge, and how customers may want to use a solution that supports both passwords and passkeys as we continue on in the passkey lifecycle. Then the entire kingdom had to orient around a shared vision of success. It isn't enough to build the thing. How might we help curious users set up and test their first passkeys when there were almost none on the web at the time? What questions might they have, and how might we prepare to answer them? And also, what might this quest mean for our narrative as a kingdom? How could the marketing team help prepare the story of how we were the first password manager or former password manager to support passkeys? And how could we speak to customers about the promises of passkeys while they still had to deal with passwords that we were also selling a solution for? Note slide for you. As an aspiring relying party, consider the different quest options before you. And given the current challenges at your organization, is supporting passkey login viable for you to pursue now, soon, later? It's up to you to collect data on and make the case for. But you're all here, and my recommendation is don't wait. The sooner you implement passkeys, the better you'll be positioned to support and retain your users as the landscape keeps evolving. We know that passwords create problems to login ease, creating new avenues of attack, entry points of potential breaches, all the associated damage. So they won't go away until passkeys are here to stay. Let's make that happen as soon as possible. Then as part of getting your viability buy-in, make sure that your extended team, your stakeholders, your cross-functional partners, are all prepared to join you on your passkey quest, maybe with corresponding success metrics and keeping tight communication loops for release. This is not a battle you can win alone, but with your combined efforts, consider the viability boss defeated. And on to the next one. Feasibility risk, the question of whether you can deliver a solution in your given constraints. And as to what those are, let's consider 4. Staffing, time, available technology, and scope. And for us, that was to securely support passkeys on any platform as a browser extension. Why? Well, it's what the kingdom wanted. We found that users of credential managers do prefer browser extensions to desktop apps, so much that we actually got rid of ours. In 2022, though, that scope of support passkeys as a third-party browser extension meant we were fighting the feasibility boss on hard mode. Nobody had done it before. We were trying to be first, meaning we didn't have many available technologies to work with. There was no tried and tested path to follow. We had to find our own way forward, and we weren't totally sure that it could be done. So this story could have gone very differently, and maybe I wouldn't be giving this talk today. But here we are. Because it was the engineering members of our adventurer party who managed to defeat the feasibility boss by figuring out that as a browser extension, we could intercept the API calls being made by a relying party and situate ourselves as an authenticator. So this turned out to be a pretty effective battle tactic, as other third-party credential manager kingdoms also now use it, helping to extend passkey access to everyone. We did have to make some concessions to the feasibility monster, like limiting our scope to first launching passkey support on our web browser extension for desktop devices, whereas for mobile users, we had to wait for mobile APIs to be available a few months later. For you, in 2024, and as a relying party, you don't need to be this creative, because there's actually a wealth of resources and mighty weapons up for grabs that will make feasibility a really easy battle to win. And I've linked to them later in the talk as cheat codes. So use them. They are some great resources from the FIDO community. And consider this battle over and done with. But we still have more. Boss 4, usability risk. Whether customers can figure out how to benefit from your solution. So we actually still face some of these same usability challenges, whether you are a relying party today or you were part of a scrappy adventurer party in a password management kingdom in 2022. Here are a few of those challenges. Helping users understand the value of passkeys. Why use them? Why should someone change their typical login practices to go set up a passkey or learn about it? Using passkeys alongside passwords. The passkey adoption curve is long and full of terrors, and we might be facing a world in which passwords will always be lurking around somewhere. If users do want to use passkeys when they can, how might they know when and how they can create one easily and quickly? How might they know when they already have a passkey for a site if they don't use a credential manager? These are flows that can look different on each relying party's implementation, a bit confusing. Then there's user verification. Sometimes it's required, sometimes it's preferred, but it's often confusing. I'm going to leave that, though, for our Wizard Rue's talk on Wednesday at 9 a.m. about passwordless user verification. Go check it out. So here's another note slide. Remember that adventuring is a team sport. Our fighter class engineering members were better equipped to help beat the feasibility boss. And your mages, or UX designers, also have an edge against usability, thanks to their arcane knowledge and expertise battling this type of monster. And luckily for us, our party's UX designer, Nuno Silva, wave Nuno, is actually in the FIDO UX working group. So here are a few best practices taken from this group to help you in your quest. You associate the unfamiliar with the familiar. People know what login forms look like, and they have some expectations. So adapt your password login experience to this flow, like we did at Dashlane. You can use conditional UI to let users log in with a password or a passkey from one place and help ease that transition. Offer freedom of choice around passkeys too. So for example, maybe some Dashlane users would rather use an authenticator other than Dashlane. That's fine, we support that. And we encourage offering this as a general best practice. And remember that users will be at different stages of their own passkey comprehension quests. So make it easy for the pros to log in. But maybe you want to persist helpful information about the value of passkeys and how they work for someone who might be totally new to the experience. And with that, consider another boss defeated. 4 bosses down, but I lied. We still have one final battle. Launch. This is the test of everything and the scariest boss of all. I'm just kidding. It's more like throwing a big party and hoping people show up. So how did our launch go? At first, quietly. Some longtime users and newcomers showed up, curious about passkeys, wanting to try them. But with few sites offering passkey login in 2022, we heard limited feedback. It still helped us fix bugs, make usability improvements, and we kept iterating because thanks to all of the work we put into those boss battles, we all believed in the potential of passkeys. And we believed that even though things were quiet for the moment, our own launch was taking one step ahead in our collective journey to passkey awareness and adoption. As adventuring and product development are both team endeavors, more customers came to the passkey party thanks to some articles produced by our CEO and our marketing team. And the success of a passkey initiative is not only affected by what you develop for your users, but the greater login landscape and how familiar and comfortable people are with passkeys in general. We saw it in our usage data when top websites like Amazon and Google started implementing passkeys as relying parties, and many others since then. So while the launch itself was one milestone, the full potential of passkeys is still being realized. The passkey party is still going strong. For you as a relying party, it's not too late to join. For the moment, though, our adventurer party did return home to the kingdom, victorious in our passkey quest, at least the first one. So congrats on winning 4 boss battles and surviving the launch, and we'll stop and reflect for a recap on how we've defeated each one. Defeat value risk by bringing it back to the problems that your organization and customers face with passwords, reducing phishing and breach risk, and just saving time. Overcome viability risk by sizing the impact of a passkey solution compared to other opportunities that you're currently facing, and make sure that critical functions are equipped to help announce and join you on your passkey quest. To win the feasibility fight of technically delivering a passkey solution, use the quick start guides offered by FIDO, or hire a mercenary, in other words, use a dedicated passkey implementation tool. And to defeat usability risk, follow the UX guidelines to avoid passkey usage problems and help present a more familiar and standardized login experience with passkeys. And in winning these battles, you are also contributing to our collective quest for a more secure and convenient login landscape. So, nice going. Like tabletop games, video games, and fantasy fiction, product development follows similar story arcs again and again, just in different worlds, for different customers, on different scales and types of problems, but always battling the same monsters, these 4 key risks: to deliver new value, win treasure, and make a better world. So I hope this guide has been useful to you in your own passkey quest. And like at the end of any quest, you get some loot for sticking through this journey. Security, convenience, and loads of experience points so that you level up and are better prepared for the next passkey adventure. Because the journey continues, at Dashlane, our own passkey journey takes us now into the realm of confidential computing, as we better protect passkeys using secure cloud enclaves, and exploring more advanced uses of magic, like auto-generating passkeys on web and iOS. Whatever happens, thanks to a lot of the interesting work and topics ongoing in FIDO, for example, there will be more quests and campaigns to go on to make the experience of using passkeys better than ever before. So until next time, thank you for joining me on this quest. We can celebrate at the FIDO passwordless party sponsored by Google and Dashlane tomorrow. And here are the promised cheat codes, which you can get much more easily by visiting dashlane.com/boss battles. Thank you again, and good luck on your own passkey adventure.
Tina, thank you so much. That was awesome, and I think we all appreciated the gamification of what can be maybe a dry topic at times. I do have some questions in the app. Does anyone have a question they want to ask at the mic? There's some like more just kind of like technical kind of questions around what Dashlane's supporting right now. If you want, so are you is it synced and device-bound credentials that you're able to support in the platform?
Synced passkeys.
And then the other question that came up a few times is around how you determined your target audience for launch. And I have like a side part of that, which is the need to leverage a credential manager with synced passkeys is obviously a thing, right? Because there are definitely consumers out there that don't have experience with that. So from Dashlane's perspective, was it let's address our current current base and try to expand to bring folks in, or how do you look at that?
It's been interesting. In the beginning with launch, we did focus on, hey, let's make sure that it's feasible. Is the solution working? We had some early interest from a lot of FIDO community members and some of our power users who are following new possibilities in logging in. And then over time, as we started to get more feedback and iterate and make that better, slowly creeping it into the rest of our experience for, I would actually say, more consumer users to start, starting with that value. Hey, do you want to log in faster? Here's a passkey. Even when new people sign up and set up their Dashlane vault, having an empty state like, hey, so this is what a passkey is. You can't do anything right here, but you can learn more, and we'll be here to catch them when you create them. Enterprise, still an interesting next quest ahead of us, as there are some different needs.
Maybe for Authenticate 2025, we'll go on that journey. But probably you would agree that having more service providers come online over the past 2 years probably helped with that a little bit.
Oh yeah, we see in Dashlane usage data when you become relying parties, and it's really cool to watch that usage start to spread through our users as they discover it and start looking for more places to set them up. We started getting that question, how can I find out where I don't have a passkey yet and go take care of that? So totally
well, that's
different.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Drop that at the end. They're liking it.
And then we could use the well-known passkey endpoint to help make that very easy.
Well, awesome. Thank you. Please help me to once again thank Tina for an awesome presentation.
Thank you.
I loved it.